Lego games, one of the biggest things about them is the open world. And hey, I guarantee you've been to one of these before. Either the Cantina, Barnet College, the Batcave, New York City, Gotham City, Middle Earth, and then the planets in Lego Batman 3. Not the best. Or the weird one of Lego Movie 2, but we're not going to talk about that. Now, the real question is, which is the worst? And yes, we do have a definitive answer for which is the worst open world, and yes, we are counting Hub Worlds on this list too. Just to let you know, all you Cantina fans, we gotta love a good old Cantina brawl. Right then, now that that's all out the way, you know what to do. Cue the music. So, hello there guys, I am RuggedEagle and I do tons and tons of Lego game content on my channel. So if you do like what you see, please feel free to subscribe and go to drop a like. It is up to you though, but I do highly recommend. I mean, come on, we all love a good old Lego game. And talking about Lego games, let's get into the worst open world. Alright, so drum roll please. The worst open world out of every single Lego game is Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. Hold your horses, hold your horses. I'm going to be explaining this just after I've gone over a few runners-up that nearly made the worst open world spot. But Force Awakens for me is just the worst, and we'll get into that in more detail after I've gone over a few runners-up, which I think you already know what they might be. So let's just begin with one of the main runners-up, and that is Lego Indiana Jones 2 The Adventure Continues. And this is a really strange Lego game because it really is divided upon the Lego game community. Some people really enjoy the game as a whole, and some people absolutely despise it. Now, the game breaks down each distinct movie into its own hub world, and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has 3 hub worlds just to do with that movie alone, and it's got a very arcade approach to the hub world, where the camera is more from a top-down perspective. Now, interestingly, Lego Indiana Jones 2's hub worlds are very built upon hub levels, and this was the first time they introduced hub levels in Lego games, a little level that you do before you start the main level, and you can really see how the entire hub worlds have been designed around this factor. And I do think they're really well done when you're making your way through the story, but once you have completed the story, exploring the numerous hub worlds can be quite tedious because there's that many of them, and the bonus levels are nothing special because they're all built in the level creator. Now, you're either a Barnet College type of person where you prefer the hub worlds to get you through the story, or you prefer Lego Indiana Jones 2 approach where it's more arcadey, where you have to go through the hub worlds to get into the story. And let's just take a rewind right to 2012 with Lego Batman 2. When that released, it brought us the first open world in a Lego game, and it did adapt the feature from Lego Indiana Jones 2 where you have to make your way through the open world to start the missions. And whatever your opinion is on Lego Indiana Jones 2's open world / hub world, you have to praise it for setting the foundation for this feature to be adapted upon in every single Lego game. Now, just before we move on to why Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens has the worst open world out of every single Lego game, another Lego game that you probably speculated to be on the #1 spot was Lego Batman 3. And yeah, I guess they did warn us in the title, Lego Batman 3 is way beyond Gotham. And that means quality-wise, and Lego Batman 3 really did take a drastically different approach to the open worlds in Lego games, and it gave us the birth of the planets. Now, the main problem with the planets was the 360-degree orbit camera perspective that really did make the game feel clunky when you were exploring the planets, and it was just nowhere near on the quality of Gotham City from Lego Batman 2, because it just wasn't fun to explore. So if we do take the planets out of the equation for a minute, we are left with a few locations such as the Batcave and the Watchtower, but they don't have that rememberability factor such as Lego Batman 1's Batcave or Lego Batman 2's Batcave. It just falls a little bit flat in Lego Batman 3, and the one saving grace for the entire game is the character roster, because Lego Batman 3 truly does have one of the best character rosters, and I'm glad this saved the game. And just before we move on to the overall worst one, there's Lego Movie 2, and I'm just going to say PNG Lego bricks. Just have a look at this. And after you finish watching this video, I'll put a link at the end to the worst Lego game in general, which is Lego Movie 2, and I do go to explain why the open world isn't the best in Lego Movie 2, and why the game overall isn't the best. And quickly, as an honourable mention, I do want to bring up LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of the best LEGO games but has one of the worst hub worlds, and it really is a little bit disappointing. But just imagine if we got a new LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean game where we could sail across the open world. Oh, that would be mint. But anyway, now it is time to touch upon the worst of the worst, and that is LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and let me tell you why. So for me, LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is a really debatable LEGO game. It has a few good bits to it and a lot of bad bits to it. And one of these bad bits is the open world. Now, LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens for 2016 has 4 total open worlds to explore, and these are 4 very mediocre planets. And I have to say, for 2016, the open world is very, very, very disappointing. And just to prove my point, take a look at this. This is the open world and it is very, very barren. Look, there is nothing around me. And this space is designed for vehicles, but it just looks lazy. It's very barren. And I truly believe that I do not think this is partially TT Games' fault, because they probably didn't have much source material to go off. And alongside this, they were still updating LEGO Dimensions at the time. Now, this may sound daft, but one of the best things about The Force Awakens for me is the theme song when you're on the planet of Dequar. Oh, it's so good. John Williams, my man, John Williams. And also, John Williams isn't in the game, but J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy are in the game. I understand J.J. Abrams, but we should have John Williams in the game. Come on. So yeah, went a little bit off track there. Back to the 4 mediocre planets, and these are Jakku, Takodana, Starkiller Base, and finally Dequar. And you can also explore the interior of the Millennium Falcon too. And seriously, exploring the Millennium Falcon's interior is better than exploring most of the planets. And personally, I do think the best way to discuss each planet is to simply rank them from worst to best. So then, swooping its way into the bottom place on the list is Starkiller Base, and this truly is the definition on why this is the worst open world. So Starkiller Base is very miserable to explore. It's got a dark colour palette and it just has nothing exciting to it at all. And like I said earlier, it's got some barren spaces to it, and this is very apparent in Starkiller Base. Now, Starkiller Base is very barren with lots of empty large patches of land designed purely for vehicles, and you can really see how the entire open world, and this counts for every single planet, is based upon the story's hub levels. This is clearly prominent once you have completed the game. And that truly isn't a good factor to base your open world off, because players can visibly see that once they have done the story. When they start revisiting places in the open world, they notice that that is part of the hub level, and there's just nothing interesting to do once you have completed the game. All there really is left to do is side quests. Now, for me, I just feel like none of the open worlds have any personality, especially Starkiller Base. If we just compare this to LEGO Movie 2's open worlds, at least they have personality. Now, moving up the list, at number 3 we have Takodana, and Takodana for me is the pure example of how it is built upon the hub levels. So I just want to point one thing out. What I never understood when I was younger is why they chose to base it off the broken version of the Takodana Castle rather than the actual Takodana Castle. And that just would have added a little bit more personality to the overall open world, because really, who wants to explore some broken rubble? And when you are exploring Takodana, you can see how the paths are very rigid and you only can go one way. It's not like an open world where you can go off track. You can literally just go one way, and that is the prime example on how this open world is built upon the hub levels. And then, like I mentioned earlier, take a look at this area. There is nothing going on. It's just simply me, myself, and I. Next up out of the planet rankings is number 2, which is Dequar. And like I mentioned earlier, the only good thing about this is the theme song. And Dequar is very, very bland and boring, but it just really works as a base, technically. Now, you know the open world is bad when the best planet in the open world is Jakku. And this is coming in at number 1, and they even say it in the movie. Why does everyone want to go back to Jakku? And simply put it, Jakku is the best planet for me because you can do so many fun stunts with the vehicles on the sand dunes, and that is about it. Now, I would say that Jakku has the most personality out of each of the planets, because there is people walking around and it does feel somewhat lively compared to Starkiller Base. Now, I am aware that Starkiller Base isn't your regular shopping centre and it's not going to have tons of people walking around. It just doesn't have any atmosphere. And yeah, for me, Jakku is the best open world in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and that is saying something. But once you've seen it once, you have really seen it. It's not like New York City in the LEGO Marvel games, where you could endlessly explore that because there's that much going on. It's not like that. Once you've seen it, you've done it. I mean, if you do want to spice up the open world in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, go into the extras menu, equip the Funk Awakens extra, and there you go, it is now a lot better. That's the best bit about the game now, come on. And I do think the main reason for the open world not having much material to go off is because the game is literally based on one Star Wars movie. It's not like the Skywalker saga where we're going to be able to explore every single planet that has been in the Skywalker saga, and it's nowhere near as exciting as Tolkien's Middle-earth from the LEGO Lord of the Rings game. It's truly great to go through all these iconic landmarks whilst exploring Middle-earth, and Star Wars The Force Awakens has none of this. I mean, I guess it does have the Funk Awakens, but LEGO Lord of the Rings tops this once again with the Disco File. Oh, that song is great. But there you pretty much go. That is why LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, for me personally, has the worst open world, and I think you lot can agree. But please, before you go, let me know which you think is the best open world out of every single LEGO game, and I also would like to know which is your worst too. And just before you go, if you are new around here, please feel free to subscribe, as I'm nearly getting to 100,000 subscribers, and go to drop a like. And if you want to check out any of my other LEGO videos, there'll be a link at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in a bit. Adios.